welcome to my office. Are you ready to save money on your property taxes? I'm going to go over 5 ways you can save money you don't want to miss. Whew. All right. Well, first off, welcome to my office. Okay. I'm trying out some new things, some new recording equipment I've got going on, some new locations. I had been filming at my house in one of my offices. Well, in my office in my house. My husband has his office. And turns out when my husband is there working, he's really loud. He's on conference calls most of the day, and I can just hear him throughout the house. Even if I shut his door in his office and shut the door to my office, I can still hear him. And you can hear the voice in the background of the recording. I'm also doing a little bit of a setup because honestly, I just got tired of staring at my phone in the ring light, and I was getting all these little flashers, and it was too much. So here I am in my office in Sugar Land off of Highway 6. Come on over and say hello if you're here. But as you can see, we're in the middle of doing some construction, okay? I guess it's really not construction, redecorating. There we go. We're doing some redecorating. So you can see I have this new wallpaper that's up. We put that up. It was this, see that wall over there? That color wall? It was everywhere. It's, just the plain beige. And we're going to have some chairs. We had this really ugly sofa. I mean, it was hideous. Okay. It was sitting over here, and it was a great place to lounge and relax, but the sofa was ugly and did not fit in with the mood board that we had set up for the office. My office mate's goal is to turn this into a recording studio. So eventually you will see the finished product and be able to check out the beautiful recording studio that we've got set up. But for now, you get a wall, you get me, and then you get some of my office mate stuff over there. But you're not here to listen to me talk about redecorating my office, okay? You want to learn how to save money on your property taxes, and I'm here for you. All right. So I'm going to focus on Fort Bend County here in the state of Texas because that's the county that I live and work in, all right? The best of the burbs are in Fort Bend County, for real, all right? So I'm going to go over 4 different exemptions that you could file for. And then one little known way or a little known thing, it's called a tax deferral for a certain group of qualified individuals to have a tax deferment. All right. Okay. The very first one is called the General Homestead Exemption. All right. This is the general exemption that you get on your primary residence. State law is $25,000 off of your school taxes. Okay. Now, in various locations of Fort Bend, you're going to have different taxing authorities. So you'll get the $25,000 off your school taxes. The amount that your assessed value is going to be reduced is going to vary depending on the remaining of the taxing authorities, whether that be the drainage, emergency services, and just your county assessment or your county taxes. Now, here is a little side note. If you have not filed for exemptions, you're going to want to do this for your homestead exemption. Not only is it going to save you money on your property taxes, it's also going to protect your primary residence from any debt collectors. Well, okay, not any debt collectors. It's going to protect your primary residence from debt collectors associated with things like consumer loans or consumer debt. Okay, think your credit cards, mechanics liens, things like of that nature. Your home can still be foreclosed on based off of not paying your HOAs, not paying your mortgage, and they still can force the sale based on like divorce statements. All right. But if you have a mechanics lien, if you have credit cards that go into collection, they cannot be filed against your home to force the sale to pay off those debts. All right. And that property will maintain as your primary residence. So what does it mean that to have your valuation? Okay. What does it mean to have this money off? So let's say your home is assessed at $200,000. Okay. Your homestead exemption on your county taxes, your homestead exemption on your homestead exemption on your school taxes of $25,000 brings your assessed value down from 200 down to 175. So you're only going to be taxed on the $175,000. Now, let's say you've lived in your property and you realize that you forgot to file homestead exemption. Do it now. Your homestead exemption can go back 2 years. Okay, so be sure that you check. You can log on to fortbendcad.org and get all of the papers and documents for all of the stuff that I'm talking about here and file your homestead exemption. Number two is for those individuals that are 65 years of age or older or disabled. You can apply for this exemption on the day you turned 65 or after. And you can apply for the exemption if you're disabled, if you qualify for, and you can qualify this if you're disabled, if you qualify for the Survivors and Disability Insurance Act. This particular exemption will allow those homeowners who are 65 years or older or disabled, okay, to receive an additional $10,000 off of their homestead exemption. So if you have $25,000 of homestead exemption, then your total amount can be $35,000 on your exemption. Now remember, this is just for the school taxes. The remainder of the taxing authorities, again, choose their own percentage that they're going to reduce based on each of these categories. Number three is the big granddaddy of them all. Number 3 is the 100% disabled veterans homestead exemption, okay? In order to qualify for this one, you must be awarded 100% service-connected disability rating from the VA and be receiving 100% service-connected disability compensation. So if you have those two categories, then you qualify for 100% reduction of your assessed value. That means essentially you're paying no property taxes for your homestead. Now, this particular one only qualifies on your primary residence. If you are disabled and you purchase additional properties, you may qualify for a disabled veteran or a partially disabled veteran's waiver on your property taxes, but you're not going to qualify for a 100% reduction of those property taxes. Now, here is my little caveat for those, okay? Because I have worked with a lot of veterans who meet this criteria. When you close on your property, you are due property taxes. When you close on your property, you owe property taxes as a general buyer the day after closing to the end of the year. the seller had been paying property taxes from January 1st up until the end or the day that the property closes on the sale. If that's an escrow account or if they've been making payments, all of that money is a credit and is still owed to the county. So just be sure that you save that credit aside to make sure that you can pay those property taxes come the following year. Okay, that's just my little side note there. Now, being able to have that reduction and not pay your property taxes is a lot of money. Okay, so for example, our property taxes here in Fort Bend County can range anywhere from 2.4, 2.5% to 3.3% and higher, right? I think 3.3 is the highest I've seen. And that, if you're awarded 100% reduction, then you don't have to pay your property taxes on those assessed or the assessed value. Your assessed value is essentially zero, okay? And if your average home price is $380,000, you are now looking at a savings of $10,000, $12,000 a year on your property taxes. So that is a lot of money. If you have been awarded 100% disability and you've not filed that exemption, that's something else that you're going to want to do, Fort Bend CAD. Now, thankfully, that can go back 5 years. Okay, so be sure to do that now and know that that can go back 5 years in the case that, if in case you have delinquent taxes or something. Number four is also with a disabled veteran, and this time this is for if you're partially disabled. So if you are less than 100%, or if you're 100% and this is a secondary home or an investment property or land, you are awarded additional exemption or an additional amount to be removed from your assessed value, and it goes on a sliding scale. Somewhere, let's say you're 40% disabled, then you get to reduce your taxable amount of your property by $7,500. Okay, and it goes up. It's I don't have the sliding scale in front of me. I'll put it over here. I'll put it over here. I'll put it in one of these areas. So there's a sliding scale. Bing. There is a sliding scale, and it's based on the level of your disability rating. Okay, so we've covered 4 exemptions that'll help you save money on your property taxes. The last one is something called a tax deferral. What? Okay, this is where you don't have to pay property taxes. If you are over the age of 65 or you are disabled, you can receive the ability to defer your property taxes until essentially the sale of the house. Okay? What happens is you apply for the deferral, and that tax burden is set aside until you sell the property. Now, this doesn't come for free, okay? This comes for essentially a cost of 5%. So if you choose to defer your property taxes, what you do not pay will accrue interest at a rate of 5%. And then basically, once the property sells, we'll end up paying those property taxes out. It's not a 100% deferral. It's not an exemption, okay? It is simply deferred until a later time. Well, there you have it, folks. There's 5 ways that you can save money on your property taxes here in Texas and in Fort Bend County specifically. So there you have it. 5 ways that you can save money on your property taxes. Well, there you have it. There's 5 ways that you can save money on your property taxes. Now you guys might say, Cynthia, I know about my homestead exemption. I am sure that I have filed for that and I have my homestead exemption on my house and I am saving money every which way I can. And I would say, are you sure? Have you double checked on that recently? If you sold your old house and moved into a new house, that homestead exemption does not transfer with you. You will have to refile in the new location. Okay? So just double check. You would be surprised at the number of homeowners that I meet that never file for homestead exemption. That's money, okay, that you could be saving and putting in and, buying expensive coffee or fancy shoes or whatever the case may be. Other times I'll use the disabled veterans example. My husband is a disabled veteran. You want to know where my application is? Here is his application, okay? We filed it when we first moved in, but we needed an updated VA award letter. We didn't have that, and I needed to provide an updated one, and 5 years later, here it is, okay? So just take a look at your Fort Bend, take a look at the appraisal district's website and just double check. You're not going to be able to see all the exemptions that you are eligible for due to privacy matters. But there is a way that you can check. You can make sure that you've got homestead, okay? And if nothing else, call up the appraisal district and make sure that you're receiving the, if nothing else, call up the appraisal district and just make sure that you're receiving the exemptions that you are eligible for. All right? I always feel like I'm just staring into the camera. My name is Cynthia Contreras with the Houston, Texas Home Team. If you like my videos, feel free to comment below. Be sure to subscribe. My name is Cynthia Contreras with the Houston, Texas Home Team. Okay? Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell. And just keep in mind, I drop new videos every Monday at 9. Bye. Fort Bend County Appraiser District, fbcad.org. Whew. Okay, where am I? I feel like I need some water. Sip, sip, sip. In order to qualify for this exemption, you must be 100%.